First time for today's guest, and you all know her as Underworld's funniest and feistiest worker, Beth Tinker in Coronation Street. But away from the drama of the street, actress Lisa George has been battling a rare eye condition that could leave her blind. And she's here to share her story. It's Lisa George.
Woo!
Thank you. Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Let's just start off with what we've been talking about there. Now, I have to confess, I've never heard of this condition. So it's called NAION, NAION, NAION.
I don't know how to say either, NAION or NAION.
It's a strange pronunciation, but I think it's an acronym. But anyway, tell us exactly what it is and how did you come to be diagnosed with it?
It's been a really, really long process, actually. So it's called let me get this right, arteritic, anterior, ischemic, optic neuropathy.
Wow. Well done. Good, yes. Got that written down.
So originally what happened was I was in the garden, my dad was cutting trees down, lowering the branches with a rope. I threw a rope and the knotted end came back and whacked me in my eye. And it really hurt, like, massively hurt. But I seemed fine. It'd gone a little bit bloodshot and everything, and I'd ended up going to the hospital. They did an eye test, and they said, oh, your sight's fine. It's absolutely fine. And it wasn't until maybe, like, a week later, things started flickering, and they got, like, the only way I can describe it is it was like a glittery shower curtain with stars on that was just in front of my eye, like floating, and it was just blurred. And then the whole of this bottom part of my eyesight, I couldn't see anything. It was just totally gone. It was really weird. So I was back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Did you at that time relate it to what had just happened?
They all thought it was from the trauma of the rope. So they didn't, but then I kept going back, and then when I had my eye test, suddenly I couldn't see any numbers out this eye and I couldn't see any letters. So I kept saying, I can't see it, I can't see anything. But luckily, my left eye was 20/20 and you can drive with one good eye, so that was fine. And the doctor had said what he thought it might be, because I was having scans, having dyes, I had, like, ultrasound on my eyeballs, you name it. And
I couldn't see anything.
No, what he said to me, I had a meeting about what I think it could be 2 weeks ago, but I don't know enough about it. This is like the top guy at the hospital I was at, and he said, I would suggest you go further afield and find someone else who is, you know, who has more knowledge about it. So I was left completely in the dark, and
So it must be quite rare.
Well, it says it's 11% of the population have it.
You had an incident, didn't you, where you were driving, and was that when it
That was 2022. That was in my left eye.
So what happened then?
So I was driving. I had just been to Casey McGlynn's birthday, and I was driving back on the M6, and to be fair, I can't really remember, but I know that there was either 2 lorries or 1 lorry, but my eye started going, and funnily enough, when we were in the restaurant, I remember looking at the menu and going, I can't see the menu. I was really struggling, because, like I say, my left eye is fine, but I was thinking, and I was saying to my friends, can you just read what's on the menu for me, please? I can't actually see it. Didn't think anything of it. I just thought, because the lighting's really bad. And then when I was driving home, I sort of merged like 2 lorries into one.
Wow.
Until I got close, and I was like, oh my God, there's 2 lorries.
That
and
must have been so scary on the motorway.
That's when I knew something was really, really wrong. So I phoned the opticians the next day who does my diabetic retinopathy. And I was like...
Because you're type 2 diabetic,
Type 2. And I was like, Julie, there's something really bad with my eye. Please, can you help me? So I went to see her. She took some photographs. She said, you need to go straight to A&E. So I then went to A&E, was there for 10 hours before they admitted me, and then I was in for a week having CT scans, lumbar punctures, everything, and they were just saying, I think it's down to your diabetes.
Well, yeah, because that is related to visual impairment as well, isn't it?
But they didn't have a clue. They didn't have a clue.
Is it intermittent, so some days it's worse than others, or is it
now that your
it's
eyes
settled down.
Right,
it's
okay,
definitely
so it has,
settled
like,
down.
flare-ups
Yeah,
and
like
downs?
for the first time, I had so much pain across my head. I was nausea. I had a eye patch on for 3 months. So it was really bad in the right eye. But the left eye wasn't as bad, even though the vision, it was the peripheral vision that has sort of gone. But I've still got good central vision. But that's when they... so I'd seen another guy, a private guy. He said, I want you to have MRIs on your orbits, la, 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 la. And then he said, you need to see a neuro-ophthalmologist, which led me to Moorfields.
So there's no actual treatment, but what can you do to sort of minimise those certain things?
Well,
can you not, like, sort of... don't they recommend things like giving up smoking?
Yeah, I think there's all different things that you can do. But she said, I went to her to say, was there any medical science stuff where it might improve and I can get better vision or anything? But it was like the damage is done. And interestingly, what I found out was I was born with extra nerve clusters at the back of my eye, which I didn't know.
Wow.
And so the analogy to explain the condition is... it's like a doorway that is wide enough for 2 people, but you've got so many nerves, you're trying to get 3 to 4 people going through it.
And could it lead to blindness?
I don't know for definite, because...
Does that terrify you?
Oh, God, absolutely. I mean, even when I'd lost partial sight in this eye, I was so depressed. I was so depressed, because obviously I wasn't driving at the time.
Someone who's helped you mentally, though, is one of the skaters that you met on Dancing on Ice who had really bad problems with her eyesight.
Libby, yeah. Oh, Libby was amazing, because I phoned her, I was crying, going, Libby, I'm just so in shock, I don't know what to do. And no, this was the second time. She knew about the first happening, because when I was on Dancing on Ice, ironically, Tom, my partner, I'd been to see his dad 3 to 4 years earlier and didn't know it was Tom's dad.
Because he's an eye doctor.
His dad's an eye doctor.
Well, look, we've run out of time. I can't believe it, because I wanted to talk to you about Corrie and whatever. But listen, thank you so much for coming to share with us that story, Lisa.
Thank you.
Also, for anyone at home that's worried about their eyes at all, please do contact your doctor. Very nice to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you.